The reason why I'm making this video is because monk mode saved my life 2 years ago. And the truth is that if you clicked on this video right now, chances are your life is a mess. Maybe you're out of shape, or you feel lonely, or you're broke, and deep down you want more. You see all of those guys on Instagram, myself included, living the best possible type of life. While you're still depressed and you are still struggling. And you see, this is something that not that many people are actually talking about. But the truth is that life is kind of like a video game. And the purpose of this video is to reveal to you the biggest cheat code to life you'll ever find. If you use it correctly, you'll be able to make every single one of your dreams come true, and much faster than you thought. Whether that be traveling the world, spoiling the people that you love, or even finding the love of your life. First, I'll go over my story and how monk mode changed my life. But if you don't care about that and you want to go straight to the actionable steps, you can skip over to step 1. But I still think it would be valuable for you to understand how monk mode changed my life. So growing up low income, we didn't really have that much money. I saw my father get completely crushed by a meaningless 9-to-5 job. It was only enough to pay the bills and to live some kind of okay life. But we couldn't splurge, we had to watch what we bought. There were many things that we simply couldn't afford, and in my parents' eyes, anything was expensive. I also saw my own mother working herself to death during 12-hour night shifts at the hospital. And the worst part is that she would be treated like a commodity by the patients who don't even pay for the free healthcare they're receiving. They just take it for granted. And personally, I've always had this fire in me. I've always wanted to achieve more out of life. I saw my own parents working hard, not making that much money, being depressed, constantly arguing, constantly fighting over the price of stuff. And I knew I didn't want that for myself. And I mean, ever since I was a kid, I've always just questioned everything. Society has been pushing this idea onto us that we need to study hard to get massively in debt, to get a good degree and then a good job. And if you're lucky, you might make 50 to 60k a year. But more and more companies are laying off employees because now they use machines or even artificial intelligence. The hard times are here. What worked for your parents to get a job, to go to university, it no longer works today. Now, of course, if you want to be a lawyer, a doctor, a surgeon, you'll have to go to university. But if your goal is to make a lot of money, you understand that you need to start a business to do that. University is just pointless. It would be a stupid expense because you can read books like the personal MBA and learn more than you would if you actually took an actual MBA from a university. And so growing up, I knew I needed to find a way to make lots of money. And I also knew it wasn't going to be through university because after all, how could I do what everyone else is doing and end up in a very different position? And then one day I stumbled upon a video on YouTube, and it was a guy who explained how he was making 50k a month, or it was maybe $50,000 a week, I'm not too sure. And he basically explained that he had his own online business. And ever since that day, when I stumbled upon that YouTube video, my life forever changed. I went down the rabbit hole, I consumed video after video on finances, on how to make more money, on how to start an online business. I learned everything about sales funnels, email marketing, creating content. I would often stay up really late at night. I had my notebook, I had my laptop, and I would just watch those videos from those guys online because I couldn't afford any courses, and I would just write everything down. Write how he structured his funnel, how he structured his VSL, and I would often go to bed at like, I don't even know, like 4 a.m. and then I would have to go and wake up at 6 or 7 to go to school the next day. It was horrible. Now I started to save up some money, and then I tried to start my own businesses. But the truth is they failed. At the time, I struggled with something that is called shiny object syndrome. It's basically when you can't stay focused on one thing. But trust me, that is the key to success. If you're trying to start 10 businesses at the same time, I can guarantee that none of them will end up being successful. So tell me, would you rather have 10 failed businesses and look like a fool in front of everyone else? Or would you rather focus on that one business, give it your everything for at least 2 years, and by then if you're not making money, you've obviously done something wrong, especially when it comes to an online business. And so after struggling so much and after not making any money for so many years, I just wondered what's going on. And obviously I knew that if I wasn't sticking to something, I would probably not get the results that I wanted. So it's not like I wasn't aware of what I was doing wrong per se. But one day I stumbled upon this concept of monk mode. I got into self-improvement more and more. I wanted to better every area of my life, whether it be fitness, relationships, and finances. But the thing that I realized at the time is that to achieve my dreams, to be able to live this crazy type of life I had envisioned, I needed to become a different version of myself. Because if I stayed as I am, then I understood I would never reach my goals. Now let's talk about why you need to go monk mode. You've got to understand, and it might sound harsh, but it's the truth. And if you really want to move forward, you'll do whatever the hell it takes. But the thing that you really need to understand is that you'll never achieve your goals as who you are right now. To give you an example, let's say somebody is very undisciplined, they eat unhealthy, they can't stick to anything, they're always late. Do you seriously think that this guy who's undisciplined as hell, he quits everything at the slightest struggle? Do you really think he actually can build a multi-million-dollar business? That is, if he doesn't change? Obviously not. You can see that there's clearly a mismatch between who he needs needs to be to make $1 million and who he is at the moment. Because the thing that you need to realize is that 99.9% of the time, your goals, they're going to be hard as hell to achieve. It's going to take you more time, more perseverance, and more hard work and struggle and sacrifice than you think to reach your goals. So you have to be ready for that. And I know that on social media, so many people are spreading so much misinformation and they try to make it look like it's the easiest thing in the world to become a multi-millionaire. You see everybody lying about their track record, about how much money they've made and how fast. You see those dropshipping gurus saying they've made $1 million when in reality they spent $2 million to make that $1 million, so they are at a loss. But because you only receive part of the information, you think that they're successful, when in reality this couldn't be further from the truth. So don't be fooled by what you see on social media. It's not easy. However, I'll say this thing. It's not easy, but it is possible for those who are willing to put in the hard work. And honestly, it's never been easier in the entire history of mankind to first build wealth, because now we have online businesses, so it's not like you need to open up factories and first to come up with hundreds of thousands of dollars to open up those factories, to have the right network. Nowadays, you can literally be broke in your parents' room and start a multi-million-dollar business from your bedroom. It's not gonna be easy, like I said, but it is possible. So the opportunity, it is there. And also, look at the competition. Most people who start a business, they haven't trained their discipline, their work ethic. They spend 3 hours watching TV per day or being on their phone, on TikTok, on social media. They're not used to doing deep, focused work. They're constantly frying their dopamine receptors by engaging in so much instant gratification activities. So look, that's your competition. This means that if you can stay disciplined, you can just do the work day after day, especially when you don't feel like doing it, you'll beat 99% of your competition. It's never been easier to win, but I'll grant you that at the same time, it's never been that hard to stay disciplined and focused. But the good news is, if you remove the distractions, by definition, you'll be focused. So if you delete TikTok, Instagram, if you remove the triggers that make you want to do the instant gratification activities, you'll get ahead of 99% of people very quickly, trust me. Because if you focus on yourself for 6 months to 12 months, it's impossible that at the end of that time period, at the end of those 6 or 12 months, your life will not be better. It is literally impossible. Monk mode is about removing every distraction, every obstacle on the path to reaching your goals. To give you an example, let's say you have a Ferrari, but on the road, there's a ton of stuff, like there's trees, there's walls, there's obstacles. You might get in the car, start the engine, but I mean, you're just going to crash into a wall. So first you need to remove all the garbage that is in your way. So you might have a Ferrari, but you're not going to move an inch, while somebody could have a Fiat Mini and the road is clear. There's no obstacles on their path, and so they're going to move 10 times faster than you would. Now, if you understand the metaphor, you are the Ferrari, but to be able to move forward, to achieve your goals, you need to first of all remove all the obstacles, all the distractions on your path. And for most of us, it's going to be our fears, our trauma, and instant gratification. You've got to understand that life is getting harder year after year. Inflation is literally destroying the middle class. Gas prices going up, food prices going up, wars all over the world. And the worst part is that nobody is coming to save you. Meaning if you don't right now put in the work, a few years down the road, you'll realize this was your biggest mistake. Now let's talk about the first step of the Monk Mode protocol. You want to set 3 main goals for the next 6 months. Ideally, it should be a 6 to 12 month period. Anything longer than that, you'll go crazy. One goal should be business related. It could also be finance related if you have a career or a job. But if you truly want to make lots of money, and not only to make money, but to be free as well, because you could be a CEO, CFO and make lots of money, but at the same time be depressed, miserable because you work all of the time. You've got no time for your hobbies, for your family, for your friends. Whereas with an online business, it gives you so much flexibility. I'm not saying it's the easiest thing in the world, because it's going to require a lot of work up front. But when you get your business to the level where you're making 10k per month, for instance, you can hire other people, you can delegate some of the work, and you can experience exponential growth. You could go from 10k to 100k, and it is much easier to go from 10k to 100k than it is to go from 0 to 10k per month. Now, if you want to start your business, but you have no clue where to start, I've recorded a free video in which I'm going to analyze every popular online business model. Together we take a look at the pros, at the cons, and I am also going to share with you for completely free the 3-step process that you can start implementing literally today to start your business and to get your first customers as quickly as possible, because we don't have any time to waste. The goal with the business is to make money, so let's cut straight to the chase. If you're interested, the link is in the description below. Now, another goal should be fitness related, because you need to seriously take care of your health. You only have one body, and you're forced to live inside your body until you die. It's not like a car. If you break the car, technically speaking, you could get another. Your body, if you break it, you're in a lot of trouble. So focus on the fundamentals. Sleep well, exercise. If you're overweight, it could be dropping 10 pounds, 20 pounds. It could also be to go to the gym 6 times a week and to build more muscle. Now, the third goal should be relationship oriented, or it could be related to a hobby or a personal project. It can literally be anything. It could be learning a skill like an instrument, learning a language. Now, you don't want to set more than 3 goals, because otherwise you're just spreading yourself thin. in. And that is not what we want. If you remember what I said in the beginning of this video, you want to be focused on one thing or just a couple things. That is one of the biggest keys to success. Now, why should it be for 6 to 12 months? Because if it's a longer time period than that, what I've found is that most people, they struggle with staying consistent over such a long period of time. And you need to take breaks. I mean, monk mode is pretty intense. You're just working, exercising, learning, practicing a hobby, but you're not going out spending money because your goal is to just focus and achieve your goals so much faster. It's kind of like if you want to see your abs but you're overweight. If you're doing a cheat meal per week, like you eat a big pizza, it's a lot of calories. So on the other days, you'll have to regulate the calories from that pizza. So it would be much simpler and you would reach your goal much faster if instead you just ate a clean diet 7 days a week and you lost some body fat. Because one thing I like to say is that the shorter the time frame, the harder the intensity. It's quite obvious that if you want to reach a goal faster, you'll need to provide more force. You'll need to do more. Now you have to be very careful when you set goals because you need to make sure that your goals are worth more than the sacrifice that they cost. To give you an example, if I told you you're going to sit down at this desk, work for 12 hours a day for a month straight, and you're going to make $1, would you agree? Would you say that's a fair trade? Obviously not. Who would agree to that kind of stupid deal? It's just not fair. The amount of work, of effort that is required to make $1, it is not worth it. So nobody would agree. So when you set goals, you need to make sure that those goals, they are worth infinitely more to you than the sacrifice and the effort you're willing to put to achieve them. Now, step 2. From those 3 main goals, you want to then reverse engineer. You want to set monthly, weekly, and daily targets to hit because success is found in your daily routine. Unlike in the movies, success does not happen overnight. It's not this big event. And even on social media, it looks like people just blow up out of nowhere and oh, they become an overnight success. In reality, that's not true. This channel is going to blow up at some point. We'll have a community of 1 million people, of 2 million people, and some people will think it was an overnight success. But let me tell you, it's not. I'm making a video every single day, and one day we'll hit that big goal. But in the meanwhile, we're grinding. So have that big goal. But then ask yourself, what do I need to do today, tomorrow, and the day after to reach that big goal? Like I said, it could be going to the gym every day. It could be publishing one video on YouTube. It could be reaching out to 150 people per day to pitch your services. If it's about finding the love of your life, it could be talking to more people, initiating conversations with people that you think could be great partners for you. Step 3, and it's probably the most important step of the entire process, it's to remove all possible distractions. Remember what I said earlier, if you're not distracted, then by default, what are you? You're focused. And for that reason, when I'm doing monk mode, which I am at the moment, I don't really go on social media, unless it's for my business. I don't drink alcohol, but I never do anyway. I don't eat junk food. And then you also want to remove video games, watching porn, all of those instant gratification activities that steal away your time and your focus and your willpower. Because those things, they prevent you from becoming your best possible self. If you're watching Netflix all day, you're focused on pixels on a screen, on the lives of fake characters instead of focusing on your own life. If you're playing 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours of video games per day, you're focused on leveling up a character in a fake world instead of making your own real life better. Because trust me, when you make money, when you have everything you've always wanted, when you reach your goals, when you get that partner that you've always dreamed of, life is better than you could have ever hoped for. But what is it going to take? Hard work, sacrifice, and persistence. And let me tell you that the real successes that you get from the real world, they will give you a lot more dopamine than video games or than watching porn ever could. Now, I'll be honest with you, my transformation did not happen overnight. You might see the kind of pictures I post on Instagram. You might see me living this good life. But the truth is, it wasn't always like that. Not too long ago, in fact, I struggled with so many bad habits. I was just literally crippled. I had some kind of social anxiety. But in reality, if you met me today, you'd think I'm an extrovert, when this couldn't be further from the truth. I'm a typical introvert. It's just I've learned to surpass myself, to surpass my own emotions, and to do what I need to do even if I don't feel like it. Because I understand it's from putting in the work when I don't want to, that those big goals that I want to reach will be achieved. And what I've found is that when you struggle to let go of a bad habit, it's because you're not realizing that this bad habit in question is serving a deeper need. A few years ago, I read this book by Grant Cardone called The 10X Rule. And in it, he explained his story and how he was at some point a drug addict, an alcoholic. And he basically said, I was obsessed with drugs, with alcohol. He said that we all need to be obsessed with something. So instead of keeping this obsession for alcohol, for drugs, he decided to shift it to an obsession for making money, for becoming successful, for building a name, a career for himself. And look where it got him today. That is why you need to understand that right now, if you struggle, you're playing so many hours of video games per day, or you procrastinate, you're not flawed. There isn't something wrong with you. It's just that your obsession is going in the wrong direction. And when you remove a bad habit and you don't fill it with anything else, with a positive habit instead, you'll just feel this kind of emptiness. You won't know what to do. So you will want to go right back to that bad habit, to that instant gratification in the first place. So turn your life into a video game, for instance, if you struggle with video games. Step 4, you need to understand that sexual energy is the most powerful type of energy stored in your body. So if you don't harness it and channel it towards reaching your goals, you are wasting so so much precious energy that could instead help you to achieve your goals 10 times faster. And I know that on social media it's talked about for men, but this also applies to women. We all have sexual energy, we all have sexual desire. And when it comes to watching porn, it is completely frying your brain, distorting your view of intimacy. It's flooding your dopamine receptors with so much dopamine that in comparison, all of the difficult things that you need to do to reach your goals, like working out, sitting at your desk and doing some boring work for your business, of course those things in comparison, they're just pale, they're uninteresting. I mean, I just find it sad personally to see so many young men, because it applies especially to young men, being literally hooked on porn, but then they want to get a girl and they can't even look at that girl in the eyes. How sad is that? So I really hope you took some notes, because if you apply those 4 steps, I really believe that your life can be forever changed. It completely changed my life. Let's be honest, you and I both know that to reach big goals, ambitious goals, you can't be doing what you see everyone else around you doing. Those 3 hours of Netflix per day. Instead, if you have big goals, you need to put them into your work. At the end of the day, everybody wants the Ferraris, the Lamborghinis, the mansions, the travels, the private plans, but very few are actually willing to do what it takes, all the work, all the perseverance, all the sacrifice to get those things. But let me tell you one thing, your actions, they speak for you. Look at what you do on a daily basis, look at your schedule. What did you do today? If you want it bad enough, you'll do what it takes. Now, like I said, if you want to start your own online business, you have no clue what to do, the link to the free video is in the description below.